Tesla Model 3 3 years now. This is a 2022 model rear-wheel drive. And in all that time, I've been telling everyone, you do not need a driver's screen. That said, never say never. Today, we're actually going to do an installation of the Hansshow F9. The Hansshow F9 is a 9-inch driver's display screen. This is the Linux version. There is an Android version as well. But the main advantage of this particular unit is that we're going to get, well, of course, the driver's display, speed, etc., everything that you might want to see. But you're also going to get wireless Apple Carplay, wireless Android Auto. That way you can run apps like Waze, which is one thing that you can't do on the original Tesla 15-inch main screen. The other cool thing is we get to add a front camera, which this car never came with. You can get this for several models of vehicle. This is for the pre-facelift Model 3, but you can also get it for the Highlander model, Model Y Juniper, and even the Cybertruck, which we don't have here in Australia. Unboxing the unit, it's well packaged. It comes with all the installation tools that you need, all the wiring as well, an installation sticker, and of course the unit itself, which has a USB port for updates. Now that we've unboxed the unit, first thing you do when you install is power off the car from the safety menu in the car's main screen. Use the plastic pry tool provided, and you can quite easily remove that side panel next to the dashboard, same as that one as well. And the rubber weather stripping around the door simply pulls off easily, and you can remove that plug again with the pry tool before removing that plastic panel, which is hiding all the wiring that you need to access in order to power up the main unit. There's a number of connectors here, of course. Don't get scared by it, it's not all that complicated. So when we look at the harness provided, this long loop here goes across to the screen itself. There's the power connection that I'm holding in my hand. And on the other end, there are a bunch of intercept cables. So this car here is an AMD car, 2022 model. So there's an AMD CAN plug, and you can see two ends here and here. And that fits in to that blue connector there. Let's click that in now. Done. Remember that was empty, so we're just going to leave that other end empty as well. The other cable that we need to connect, this one here, again labeled AMD power plug, and that will connect to this connector here. Just lift that up. Now we want to make sure that's plugged in again at the end of everything, so this one here, the AMD plug, goes in. In like that, and that end we unplugged, put it into here. So the remaining plug that we have here is our power connection. We're just going to hook that up like that. And then we hook up red and black to these red and black cables going into the screen, and we can test if these work. You do have to make sure that you line them up. There we go. Simple as that. I highly recommend that you do plug in everything just like this first before you start pulling apart your dashboard, just to make sure that everything works. We've got 63%, 264K. The other thing that we have to test though is the front camera. So I'm going to plug that in too and see if we can get that operational before we start installing everything properly. And to get the front camera working, I've just pushed the right scroll wheel inwards to the left. But as you can see, the camera's working as well. Now it's time to install the front camera. The upper panel simply lifts off, and to remove the rest of it, there's one bolt up there near the windscreen filler, and then there's half a dozen bolts which you can see at the top, middle and bottom, and unplug the interior latch cable. There we are, we've removed the frunk in order to gain access for the wiring to put the front camera in. If you want to remove the frunk, I kind of worked it out on my own. There are 7 bolts that you need to remove. 2 there in the middle, 2 there at the back, 1 where the washer bottle is, and around the cabin filter a couple of clips that you can pop off. The next thing to do is to try and figure out a way to route or pass the wire from the front camera, which I'm going to put under the number plate, all the way to inside the cabin to meet up with the F9 unit. I've seen quite a few videos on the internet where people have found a grommet in the firewall to go through, but I think they're all left-hand drive cars. In our right-hand drive car, the steering column gets in the way a little bit. But I have found a location, a very easy one, for how you run the wire to the inside of the car. I'm going to show you now. So the camera, we're going to mount it here underneath the number plate, up under there. We'll pass the wire through to the inside. It should be able to come up through a little gap there quite easily. Then we're going to extend this wire. We're going to run it up here, sort of in that gap underneath the fender, all the way through there, all the way through there. And you see this wire poking out? What I've done here, it's got a little bit of just flexible wire, and it does go, actually, if you're going to put the wire through, do it from here. Get your wire, pass it through that little gap just in there, and of course it'll come out the other end just at the top of the fender. With the front camera wiring, it's important to secure it to the car so that it doesn't make any noise. Use some cable ties, there are a few provided in the kit. Make sure it doesn't rub on any sharp edges, and pass the wiring through the front bumper opening to where you're going to mount the front camera. I've only used double-sided tape, which is provided to hold the camera up there, but of course you can screw it in to make it extra secure. Well, the front camera wiring is pretty much done. We've got the camera located in the center of the bumper there. We've run the cable up through here. There's actually a little sort of lip you can... Oh, where is it? There. Pull, you see that rubber? You can just pull it back and run the cable up through there. I'm just loosely running the wire and securing it every now and again with a cable tie, just until, you know, we're sure that everything works properly. Again, I can't get to that grommet, which is way under there, because on a right-hand drive car, the windscreen motor that you can see is right in front of it. So it's pretty much impossible to get to. And I'm not really seeing any other grommets that I could use there. So we're tucking it up sort of through here, under the side fender there. Now, when it comes to getting the other end of the wire into the cabin, the wire comes out through there. I'm actually going to make a tiny little incision in this rubber grommet here, and then we'll pass it straight through into the cabin from there. You can't just tuck it under this rubber strip, because it's a sharp metal edge and that will chop that instantly. So we've just got to pull that out. That should pop out with both hands. Little hole and inside. So here I'm making a little incision in the grommet, just using a sharp instrument to pass the wire through. Normally when I run wiring in a car, I'll do it through the firewall, but I couldn't find an easy way to get through the firewall for Tesla on a right-hand drive car. If you've managed to do it, leave a comment in the description below, and I'll update you on how you can do that. What we're doing now is removing the upper trim panel. It simply lifts off with a couple of clips. You don't need to unscrew anything, but just be careful you don't scratch any of it as you're removing it from the car. There is an alignment sticker provided, this black thing here, and those three little dots indicate where you're going to pass through 3 wires from the unit to get to the back of the vent and make sure everything is all centered up. So the kit comes with a pretty clever little sticker which marks out the 3 areas where you need to pass through these 3 cables, and they're labeled 1, 2 and 3 from left to right: red, black and yellow. And when we then insert the screen itself, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screw holes, which will then be retained by the backing plate on the back using these 4 little screws. One thing I could mention though is that the little screws provided, they're very, very small, very, very fine. So be careful you don't strip them when you're tightening the screws like I'm in the video right now. With that installed, we can replace the upper dash trim into the car. We're going to reconnect all those little wires, the red, the black and the yellow for the front camera. And then we're going to make sure that they're tucked out of the way of the clip so that we can replace the upper trim panel correctly and it all fits in very nicely. There we go. Initial turn on is good. And front camera works as well. Reinstalling the front trunk, opposite of removal of course, half a dozen screws plus 1 year the washer bottle. I've done a minor setup of this unit already, just connecting it to the Wi-Fi that I have here. I haven't set up Android Auto wireless yet, so maybe we'll do that. Android Auto, connect via Bluetooth. Okay. Oh no, there we go. TSL 13 something something something. Pair that. And here we go. When safe, check your phone. Click continue. Done that. Simple. So it's that easy to set up wireless Android Auto to the Hansshow F9 screen. I think one of the main things I want to do is put Waze on it so that we can have any speed warnings and traffic warnings, etc. There is probably a way that we can have a third or a half the screen with a map and the other half with a dashboard. So this view is quite useful. You've got about 2/3 of the screen is your Android Auto and the other third is a speed display as well. That is Google Maps, but I will probably put Waze on it, better for speed camera alerts and everything else too. But it is quite nice to have that screen there and that screen there and another screen there. That's another Hansshow unit. I've reviewed that in another video. But it integrates really well with the car. It matches the cutout above the steering wheel or inside the steering wheel. I can see that really quite clearly. The design is very similar to the main screen that we have here. Maybe it's a tiny bit more rounded here and a tiny bit sharper there. We're going to turn on the front camera by sliding the right button to the left and holding it down for a moment. And there we go. And we can see exactly what is out the front of the car. It is quite low down, but you know, it will help you with parking against curbs and everything else too. Quite nifty to have. If we get out of that by clicking that again one more time, we're back to our driver's display. So now that we've enabled Android Auto on 2/3 of the screen, you can see we've still got the speedometer here on the right hand side. I'm running Spotify here, but you can set it up so that the main audio actually comes through the main car stereo instead of little speakers in the unit itself. We've got Android Auto with Google Maps working, but you can of course put Waze on, which I've had before, and it gives you more of the notifications and warnings that you expect to see. And one other feature which I hope I can show you soon is that there are really cool warning indicators on your blind spot. If someone's in your right hand side blind spot, it'll turn up a bit yellow here. If on the left side, it'll turn up a bit yellow there on the left hand side. There's a car coming up behind me on the right hand side, and what you'll see pretty soon is that that half of the screen will flash yellow a little bit, and that'll give you a little visual indicator that there is a car in your blind spot. Pretty clever feature, something that, oh, you saw it there. Clever feature, something that wasn't specifically noted in the features of this heads-up display, but I find that quite useful, and I'm a little surprised that the blind spot while you're driving feature doesn't activate on the main screen. I like being able to have whatever I want on Android Auto displaying on that left side of the screen, but you can actually switch very easily to a full screen display by simply hitting the right button. And as you can see, we've gone back into just a full screen display. Yellow because there is actually someone in my blind spot on the left hand side. So like I said before, quite a useful feature to have that wasn't there before. And now there's someone on my right hand side blind spot. There we go. That was my installation of the Hansshow F9 front driver's display screen for a 2022 Model 3 rear-wheel drive. If you liked the video, please like, comment and subscribe. Would I recommend this product? At the moment, so far, yeah, I think so. It is quite useful having Waze, Google Maps on the driver's display immediately in front, and the front camera is a nice thing to have as well. How difficult was the installation? From a scale of 0 to 10, I'd give it about a 7. It's not difficult, but there are a lot of parts to remove. You have to be kind of careful. Some of the plastics feel like they're going to break when you give them a tug. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos on modifying your EVs and your old project cars. That one over there, that's the S15, which I will never, ever, ever, ever sell. The best car in the world. Tim from Bozzy Garage. I'll see you in the next video.